Hi, this is Brad from House2Start. Today we're going to install a House2Start charger in a 2025 Winnebago Ekko on a Sprinter chassis. So let's get started. House2Start is a 12-volt battery charger and maintainer for the engine starter battery. Power from the charger comes from the house battery system, which usually has excess power because of the solar or shore charger systems. People install House2Start because they want to keep their starter battery in good condition, especially if they store their RV for long periods of time, and it also fights parasitic loads from the chassis electronics. All right, let's get started on showing how to install the charger. Okay, before we put the charger and mount it into this Ekko, we're going to set the jumper. So we're going to use C. So these are the two jumpers. Right now it's on D. So we're just going to pull this one out like that, and that's C. So we're going to install the House2Start charger in the battery bay of this Ekko. We've got the single lithionics battery. There's the Winnebago circuit breaker panel, which is where we're going to attach the chassis battery power lead from the charger. And then there's the ground and the house power behind here. And then we're going to mount the charger up here on this plastic panel back here with the LED showing out, so we'll be able to see it when we open the door. So the first thing to do is to turn off the solar, the house, and the chassis power. We've already done that. The lithionics are turned off with this button. The solar, there's a fuse behind the charge controller, and to turn off the chassis power system, there's the lug behind the gas pedal. So I've already removed the 4 or 5 screws here for the circuit breaker panel. We're gonna, a little bit of a trick here. You have to slide this back, and then it will actually come out. We're just going to leave it like that for now. If you're going to install a Victron DC, you can install them back there. So we're going to connect the House2Start output that goes to the chassis to the power for the steps. The steps and the awning are both powered by the Sprinter chassis electrical system. So we're going to use that to feed the charging output from the House2Start. And that's this bus bar right here. There's a bus bar in the back that connects to the house battery system. We're going to use that to connect the House2Start input. On both of those connections, we're going to add an inline fuse to protect the circuits and the wires. All right, so we're going to connect the House2Start yellow wire to the 12-volt house battery bus bar using this inline fuse holder. This way, if we need to, we can pull the fuse out and that will turn the charger off. I'm going to cut it on one end so that we have a little bit more wire so that the fuse will be up here in the top battery compartment where it will be more accessible when you pull the fuse out. Okay, so we're going to mount the charger with some VHB double-sided tape to the plastic panel. The house wire, the yellow input wire, we've attached it to this inline fuse. We're going to zip tie it to the power cable, and then we put a ring terminal which is going to attach down here at the house bus bar. And then the black wire, the ground wire, we're going to bring it down and attach it to the ground bus bar. So the black wire to ground is just a little bit too short to reach the bus bar, so we're just going to add a little pigtail extender onto it. And then the blue wire, the charger output, is going to come through this pass-through, and we're going to mount it. We're going to put a ring terminal on this. We're going to mount it right here onto the back of this breaker. if your RV has a DC-DC charger, specifically a Victron Orion XS, then you need to make sure to use the hardwire remote enable terminal instead of the voltage sensing algorithm when installing a House2Start charger. The voltage sensing algorithm can be confused by the House2Start charging the starter battery and then turning on the DC-DC even when the engine's off. In order to prevent that happening, we use the app to turn off the remote or smart engine off detection algorithm, and then use the remote enable terminal, which is the H terminal on the front of the Orion, and then wired into the Mercedes EK1 terminal. On many Winnebagos, that terminal has already been wired into the chassis coach wiring harness, and on this Ekko, the wake speed controller, which is actually mounted right here in the battery compartment, ties into that engine on D+ signal. So all we're going to do is take the brown wire that's connected to the wake speed controller and splice into it using a little 3-way Wago, and then this yellow wire goes into the H terminal of the Orion. And then when the engine turns on, that signals the Orion that it's safe to turn the DC-DC charger on. And then when the engine's turned off, the Orion shuts off automatically as well. So in the back here on the wall is mounted the wake speed controller for the second alternator. And this jumble of wires is the harness for the wake speed controller. These yellow, kind of fluorescent yellow wires, these are all the Winnebago chassis wires. So in this bundle of wires is this very different looking brown wire that's running around. This is the wake speed harness, but this is connected to the engine on EK1 terminal that's running through the RV, then ends up connecting to the Sprinter EK1 terminal underneath the driver's seat. But you don't need to run a cable all the way to the driver's seat, you can just tap into it here. That concludes our install of the House2Start charger to this beautiful 2025 Winnebago Ekko on a Mercedes Sprinter chassis. If you want to install one yourself, you certainly can, or find a local RV service center or mobile installer technician to do it for you. For more information, visit our website, house2start.com. Thanks for watching, and we hope you have a strong start to all your adventures.